All right, I'm going to be talking about GPack. It's a different way for doing dependency management that I'm starting to use myself. Recently, a couple weeks ago, started showing off some of the early work on the Discord, and Jorg asked me if it was just another package manager. Not quite. So, a couple quick show of hands. Who is capable of raising their hand? Fantastic.
Not everybody. Not everybody.
Close enough. Who uses packages, so VIPM, NIPM, anything else, for distributing source code? Cool? A lot of people. How many people use Git submodules? I'm surprised that's not more. Who has trouble organizing submodules? So this is probably going to be not many, but it's probably going to be everybody that uses submodules. Does anybody nest submodules? Why do you hate yourself? Who uses any other generic package managers? Peru has come up in conversations. One hand. Did I miss any questions that somebody can think of in 10 seconds? Okay. So this was back in 2018. I wanted to do something like this. I'd gotten very familiar with Git at the time, but not submodules yet. And the response I got when bringing up this idea on the forums was, this just sounds like submodules with more steps. Since then, I know a lot more about Git. I know a lot more about submodules. I know a lot more about LabVIEW. And combining all of those together kind of sucks. So the submodule nesting problem, one of the basic things that was suggested is just nest your dependencies under your repo. And then you'll get into the situation where I've got two repositories. They depend on the same dependency. And then I want to combine those into a higher level repository. And now I've got two copies of things, conflicts, things aren't happy. So this is all I do. Everything is just a peer of everything else. This is all not under a super project. But even if I am working with submodules, there's one super project which really doesn't have any LabVIEW code in it. And then everything else is just a peer of all the other code. Can anybody think of any problems that comes up when you do this and when you're using a super project to track your dependencies? Versioning. The one thing that I really care about is like HTTP util there towards the bottom. That depends on about 6 of the other things. If I make a change to that and I want to test that in a pipeline, I need its dependencies. But it is nested under a super project, so how do I get just HTTP util and the things it needs? So I created GPack. Kind of a little bit misnamed. It's not really dependency package management in the form most people would think. It is basically Git submodules, but with different steps, not more steps. I think it's fewer steps, but in my use case. And what drove this is, can I do dependency management without having to rework dependencies linking, like what VIPM does when it's compiling packages, or installing the special hard-coded locations. So this is a tool. It is command line invoked, but it does have a little GUI to keep track of the live log. And it's got 4 commands: create the GPack file, add dependencies to it, and install them, add dependencies without installing them, and installing if you've got a copy of a repo that's using GPack. So it's not a virus tool. It can track Git repos that aren't using GPack. When you are using GPack across your dependencies, it'll recurse the dependencies for you. It doesn't have a lot of conflict resolution or anything built into it yet. It has the hooks to expand to other source code control providers, and even doing stupid stuff like downloading from a web page. I have a domain set up for doing named dependencies, which we'll see an example of. But there's nothing to look at yet. Don't bother trying to go there. And it's very much still in development. I'm using it. I figured I'd see if anybody else is interested in it. So I'm going to do all of this in the, how much time do I have left?
2:43.
Cool. So I'm going to do all of this, including automatic dependency detection in a large project. So I've got this empty folder here. It's just a brand new repository created from GitHub. Cloned it down. I'm going to initialize GPack. And now I'm going to add my application framework that I've created that everybody says not to do. Sorry. So this is going to go to lvgpack.com, find this package listing, download that. It's cloning it. You can see them showing up in the folder on the left. That has a GPack file, so it is now getting its dependencies and making sure they're available. And then all of this gets tracked in a .gpack file that you can version along with your code. A little bit of a decent-sized framework. So that's there. If I look at the contents of the GPack file, it now lists that dependency I added. Again, it'll automatically recurse. This is initially just supporting Git, because that's what I use. But it's got these fields can get reused for other stuff. So now I'm going to do a demo of automatically detecting dependencies in one of these dependencies. I'm going to get rid of Volatos's GPack, which is what depended on all of the other folders that showed up. And I'm going to do recreate the GPack file. And I'm going to tell it to find dependencies for all project files it finds in this repository. And so now I can version this file and use this to get all of those other repositories. So somebody else could clone this repository down, run gp install. They get everything that this project needs as a peer dependency in a pipeline. If you update one of those intermediate things and you have GPack files in all of them, clone down the repository in your pipeline, gp install, do your testing.
Done?
No hook for me. Same as last year.